Hear that? That's us going live. Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's Houston with a problem. Number 460. What? Got some burritos. Ate a burrito earlier. I don't know how long the show is going to be. I normally don't do a Tuesday night show, but you know things are still weird out there, so might as well get in on it. I'm a little tired, so I see no video coming through on my side. It's just black. Is there video? There it goes. All right. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see me. It finally just popped up. So anyway, episode 460, Houston, a problem. Tuesday night, a little special Tuesday night show. I don't know if I'll have a chance to do a show tomorrow. I got a lot of driving ahead of me because I got to take the car to go get inspected by Washington State Patrol. So they go, yes, that is a car, and then give me a title. And lots of family stuff to do. So we'll see if we can fit something in there. But let's at least get like maybe an hour out of this. I don't know. Let's see where it goes. Big news today, again, 2 days in a row, some big whale dropped millions, over $10 million on in-the-money calls between $19 and $22, I believe. Tens of thousands of them. So yesterday, 4.7 million, something like that, to buy 10,000 $22 calls, $21 calls, all for June 21st, which are the leaps, the monthlies. Interesting. Building up a whole bunch of gamma, I believe. Putting, right now, probably 4 to 6 million shares extra that will be in the money when that date comes. I'm wondering if the whale, I might be DFV, because he's like, I'm going to do it myself. If they're buying these options and then come close to when swaps expire, etc., we start to see lit exchange orders coming in at ever increasing prices, pushing that thing up, forcing gamma ramping and delta hedging and everything else, and just so I rolled my options ahead over again. I rolled them over for I think now June 7th. I'm just going to keep kind of tinkering and playing with them. The way that they've been treating the graph, it's really hard to play the options game at the moment because it drops really hard at the beginning, which means you can't quite sell everything you need. And then it jacks up really hard at the end, which means you can't quite sell everything you need or to buy new. So it's very frustrating. They're doing a good job making it so it's difficult to make money off options at the moment. Anything else I want to add quickly, Monkey? Oh, yeah. Robert Kennedy Jr. bought a bunch of GameStop, and now he's an ape. Can we stop courting the worst human beings in the world to, like, come over to our side to help us promote these things? Because if you go on to social media outside of the echo chamber of like the subreddits and Twitter, what you find is average Americans who have no clue about any of this financial stuff. They don't pay attention to it. They don't care. They may have heard about GameStop. They may have seen the little movie, but it's not in their brains at all times. They're now equating us with like flat earthers and people who think the moon landing's fake, and the guys who are scared the lizard people are in charge of everything. Because we keep bringing in the worst human beings we possibly can. James O'Keefe constantly gets in trouble for like faking news pieces and investigations. Andrew Tate, sex trafficker. Why are we bringing him into this? Right? We got now Robert F. Kennedy Jr., anti-vaxxer, grifter, weirdo, brainworm, convinced his wife to kill herself guy. Like, we're trying to get Congress to pay attention to us as a legitimate group of people with concerns that we need addressed and changed so we can get parity in regulating the markets and ensuring retail investors have a fighting chance in these markets with these large institutions. And we're not going to get that if we have Brainworm Man suddenly jumping on board and trying to like sidle up to us to create some sort of voter base for himself. It's not, we're going to be seen as a laughing stock, and they're not going to pay attention to anything we have to say. They're meaning like, oh, you're like the weird flat earther and QAnon people. We don't, gross. And what we need is we need to be able to bring in the normies and make them look at how their financial systems work. And it's a really complicated system. If you're trying to explain a complicated system in their brain, they're thinking this is a QAnon flat earther weirdo cultist. They're not going to listen to you. And it really, 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 really hurts our cause. So please stop. If you're going to bring someone into this, I don't know, like Tom Hanks or Ryan Reynolds or Oprah or something, like focus on people that the general public adore, not hot button issue weirdo grifter dudes. Anyway, Doritos. Okay, Case Chapman. Sure, it's interesting timing with the CAT system being implemented and BBBY bankruptcy wrapping up. Do you think they were coordinated? No. I think it's more serendipitous than anything. Because the CAT system was supposed to be implemented like, 4 years ago, something like that. They kept putting it off and putting off. They even announced today that there's some exemptions for exchanges and reporting. But at first I read it, I was like, oh, fuck these guys, because they're exempt from certain reporting requirements until July 2026. But it doesn't have to do with how trades are reported. It's other things that who cares. So yeah, that's where we are in Lost Waves. Tom Snake is a pedo. That's the QAnon crap that everyone is just. Guys are gonna give me an embolism. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so it's nighttime. In nighttime, jumping burgers.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right. Lost Waves Day news on with BBBY today. Not that I saw anything pop up on Kroll. I haven't looked at Kroll today, so do a little refresh here. We got no certificate. No, nothing new. We got certificate of notices popped up yesterday, but no, I don't see anything new on the docket. So, not that I see. All right, I put this thing in night mode. Why is it still so bright? Put that one in there. There we go. Okay. And Lost Waves looks like Robbie Kennedy bought Jimmy today. Yeah, he bought 1,000 shares, I guess. MacroTurf, just watched that post on swaps I found on your Reddit page. TA hurts my brain. Can you explain it to me like I'm 5, possibly? I have not seen that post yet. I just got done with work. So, eventually, yes. Right now, cannot, because I've not seen it. I'll get in there. Jay Geyser, like and sub. Aaron Heiss. Heiss. I'm not sure what all went down with Platinum, but I really believe the stonk sub should let you back in. Oh, Platinum Sparkles is a straight up shill. Works for FINRA. Her job is to undermine anything she possibly can. She absolutely hammers anything on Bed Bath & Beyond, despite being wrong constantly in her assumptions and in what she reads into things. And then she jumped into shitting on MMTLP, basically parroting FINRA's almost verbatim question answer responses for what happened with MMTLP, despite the fact that we've got evidence that FINRA fucking lied. And Congress is even like, yeah, FINRA looks like you lied. So she's just a shill. She's a terrible human being. She should not be any part of this movement, and no one should pay attention to her. Her job is to undermine everything. She weaseled her little way in there, and then she's absolutely going to destroy you from within. And I pointed that out on Superstonk. They let an MMTLP post on Superstonk, and then Platinum had to jump in there with a whole bunch of bullshit that wasn't true. And I had largely stayed out of the crap she was saying on Bed Bath and Beyond, and letting like Jake and those guys kind of handle her FUD and disinformation. But when she started spouting a bunch of bullshit about MMTLP, that's my domain. I'm the expert in that. And I had to lay the smack down. And I did. I absolutely humiliated her in front of 400,000 people on Reddit. I bodied her. And then they banned me from Superstonk for doing that. And now there's videos of me on Superstonk like 3 times a week. People are like, this guy's awesome. I'm like, I'm not allowed in your subreddit. People said, hey, Superstonk mods, why don't you let Houston back in? Like, he has to contact us himself. I'm like, I contacted you 3 days ago. You've not responded. So they're whatever. Don't protect shills. Absolutely destroy them. That is the only thing you can do. Just obliterate them until they disappear and are so brutalized that they can't even use that account anymore. That's how you deal with shills. They're paid to destroy us, so we destroy them. I have no qualms about being an absolute dick to shill accounts. Just be as brutal as you possibly can. If they want like good answers out of you and they're just ignoring the answers, just tell them to eat shit over and over again. And I had one dude, he's been like every couple of months, he's like, got your shares yet or whatever? And I just tell him to eat shit. And he responds back, oh, good one. And I say, eat shit. Good one, eat shit. Oh, that's all I can think of, eat shit. Like, what are you doing writing me right now? You should be just mouthfuls of the stuff, just eating, just chewing away on it. And eventually they just stop messaging you and they just disappear and go somewhere else. Because their job is to like waste your time, waste your energy, waste your brain space, put that little seed of doubt in your brain when it's against what is true, because humans, we're really malleable in those ways. And just be a dick. Just be a dick to them. They deserve nothing less. If they can't listen to a reasoned response, then just obliterate them. Just drop a nuke on their heads. There's no other response Platinum Sparkle should get. She should get 0 sympathy, 0 respect. Just absolutely hammer her into the ground anytime she pops up on the internet and point out what a fuddy piece of shit she is. So, they may never let me on Superstonk for that opinion, but she shouldn't be on Superstonk. She shouldn't be on the freaking internet. She should have to change her name, look, and grift all over again. So that's what she should do. Are you cold? You want your blanket? She's like, you're talking too much. You're not putting blankets on me. Yeah. Cook de Capo. There's a monkey butt blanket right there. But Sunday Late Show. It is indeed a late show. It's got a little intimate crowd because I short a warning window and late at night, so half people can't even show up because they're all asleep. Because they're waking up early because they look at green and red candles all day long. Dizzy. It's Kitty doing those end of the day calls, in my opinion. I think so too. I think you're right, Dizzy. Esco Generalson. You're feeling on DFE, think he will be back or gone for good. I think he's spending tens of millions of dollars on call options right now. I mean, think about this. Let's say you have 1,000 call options, right? You have 1,000 call options and the price of the stock shoots up to $1,000. You just made $100 million. That ain't so bad, right? It's 1,000 times 100,000. You just made $1 million by a stock shooting up to $1,000. And if you exercise those things, let's say you have, okay, calculator time. Let's calculate this thing. We'll go play the calculator game. Okay. Calculator time. Oh, that's not calculator. That is a Chrome Chrome time. Calculator time. There we go. All right. So you have 1,000 calls, and they're at $20, right? So if the price goes up to $1,000, you just made $90,980 per option. So you're at $99,980,000 plus whatever the premium is. And by that point, the premium is probably like fucking $10,000 share. So you're probably over $100 million, right? You can exercise. You can definitely exercise those 1,000 shares at $20 a share. Those 1,000 call options at $20 a share. So that is times 100 shares, right? So you got 100,000 shares times $20, $2 million. You can exercise all those suckers for $2 million. So if you sell, how many call options? $99,000 per call option. You sell 20 of those 1,000 call options, right? And you can afford to exercise everything else. You will put, 100,000 shares out there that the market makers have to go get. Now, with the amount of shares that this whale, it might be one guy, it might be multiple guys. Let's just assume it's one guy. They currently have, I think, around 40,000 options. 40,000 of them. That's 4 million shares worth of stock. That if they execute, that alone pushes a volume up by 40 million shares in over a day, trying to search for those things. So those 40 million shares, they're all between $19 and like $22. Let's call it $20 average. It's 4,000 options, sorry. So there's 100 shares in each one of those, 4 million shares times $20. It'll cost you $80 million to exercise those options, right? The stock price goes to $1,000 because we are MOASing. You're making on those 40,000 clear. Oops. Times 99980. You're making $3.99 billion off those call options if we were to shoot up to prices like that. So all you'd have to do is execute, how many of those? 80 million. 80 million. 1, 2, 3. Divided by 99980. You have to execute 800 of your 40,000. So, sorry, sell 800, maybe 801 of your 40,000 call options you have, and you'd be able to execute another 39,200 of them. Just absolutely bonkers type stuff you could do here. And you could easily push all that stuff over and cause absolute mayhem. So if it's coupled with corporate buybacks from GameStop, other people getting options, buying pressure building up again from one or more whales, maybe a BBBY reemergence from bankruptcy, announcements of merger acquisition stuff from Newell Brands and others. The really curious things can start to happen, especially if swaps are expiring, leaps are expiring. There's a culmination of a lot of crap that's been building for 3 years that I think makes for a really, 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 really juicy next couple of weeks. So I'm excited. I think somebody's going to have some really crooked numbers come up here. So, oh crap! I turned that one off. Turn the stupid. But distracted me. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right, jumping burger. Turn off. Okay. There we go. John Castro, Roaring Kid will be back. Yes. Belgian Whale, it's okay. I'm here. Relax. It's really early for you, Belgian Whale. Huddle, New Zealand. Happy birthday, Houston. Can you explain to me why there's always a huge portion of volume is reported shorted on GME, like 50-55%, but the overall shorted percentage stays at 24%? There's what's reported short, and there's what is short. And then there's the payment for order flow and high frequency trading, also other crap that goes in there. So when you need a share, like you're on some app, right? Your Weeble or Robinhood or whatever, and you buy a share. Like, oh, I'd like to buy one share. It goes through one of the payment for order flow guys off of Apex. And you're buying your share for $20. They're hoping to find one for $19.99, so they buy that, and then they sell that to you for $20 and pocket the penny. So to get one share, at least one other share is traded. The thing is that with these weird dark pools, you can try to buy a share at $20. Another guy's trying to find it at $19.99, who finds a dude is finding it for $19.98.9 and shaving, a tenth of a penny off these things. And there could be like 4 or 5 trades that happen in the dark pools just to get you one share. And there's a whole bunch of people who've it's taken their little micro transactions off of each one along the way of the arbitrage. So that's why when we saw 4 million shares go in the money on options a couple weeks ago, it led to 40 million volume that Monday. When we saw 8 million go in the money 2 Fridays ago, it resulted in 175 million shares being purchased on that Monday. So the thing is that when the arbitrage happens, those prices are not released to the major indexes. So the New York Stock Exchange has no idea what's going on in those dark pools. They just know the price you want to pay for it, and then a whole bunch of other crap happened. And the thing is that in those dark pools are also where the market makers dump shares that don't exist. So they can sell, a share at $19.98 point, 32 and shave off a whole bunch of tenths of a penny. So that's why. The reported short interest you see, that's the physical borrowing. That's somebody going out, borrowing a share from like a hedge, say a pension fund, and then selling that thing into the market to make the money. And eventually they have to owe that pension fund back the share and or cash or whatever. That's the stuff you see. And the way it's calculated changed. It changed in October of 2020. They used to count how many times shares have been lent out. But if a share has been lent out, a single share has been lent out multiple times, only count it once. So let's say you're a hedge fund, you borrowed a share from a pension fund and you sold it, right? And then a BlackRock bought that share. And you go to BlackRock and you borrow that same share from BlackRock and sell it again. Rather than being counted as 2 loans out, two shares of short interest, they only count it once. Even though technically 2 of them are owed at this point because you've borrowed the same share twice from 2 different institutions. Well, it happens again and again and again and again. Ihor over S3, back in October 2020, he explained that the old way they calculated it would show that companies like GameStop were shorted to 150% or more. But then they recalculated how they do it by counting only one interaction, the most recent borrowing that's happened, not all the other ones that are still owed on. And then suddenly went from 150% down to 24%. So that's the short interest you're seeing. And then you can't add in the unreported naked shorting because no borrowing happened there. They just sold a share that doesn't exist. So that's it. It's a stupid system. It's absolutely dumb. So when you do see a stock that's 93% shorted, you be that's probably 2,000% shorted. And they're just only reporting that 93% portion of it. Meow meow. 1, the earth is flat. 2, the moon landings are faked. And 3, Platinum Sparkles has herpes. One of these is true. Guess which one? That's where the sparkles come from. Okay. Seth, Nicholas Rendell, you and Cosmic Lightning Warrior need to do another episode together. I haven't seen Cosmic Lightning Warrior in forever. Probably should. What's he up to? Is he still rocking and rolling? Frozen State Productions, what a great surprise. Are we going to see any Gamma this week? I don't think so. I don't think. We would have seen it today if we were going to see it. GameStop releasing that form early before open on Friday really killed the chance of Gamma. And again, like, I know that them and Newell Brands released a very similar form with the same 7 security options on it, kind of worded a little differently for all 7 security offerings. But again, GameStop could have waited till Monday. They could release the same time as Newell Brands, and we could have had hell of a lot of Gamma going today. But no, they didn't do that. Come on, GameStop. Don't kill your rallies. Don't do that when it's unnecessary. But maybe they did it so that someone could load up on tens of millions of shares worth of options and rock and roll. Flight Guy 99 Houston, what's the bull case for IEP? Don't bet against Carl Icahn, I think is the bull case for IEP. He's one of those dudes who holds things close to his chest on a company and then turns it all around and releases it to the public. It's like, ha ha, look what I just did. I made $1 bajillion. And I think at the moment they've held a lot close to their chest and haven't revealed a lot of their plays. And the shorts saw that as weakness and jumped on them and decided to hammer it down. But again, Icahn has no problem paying out his $1 a share. I think he kind of played into it a little bit by reducing it from $2 a share to $1 a share to set a trap for them. I think Carl and Brett have something planned for them, and it might be involved with things we're in as well. So, yeah, that's to me the bull case, is that you just don't bet against Carl Icahn. You're going to lose. Bill Ackman learned that lesson. He screwed Carl Icahn over once, and Carl Icahn took the opposite side of Ackman's short of Herbalife. Herbalife is a dog shit company. They are an absolute predatory, multi-level marketing pyramid scheme crap company that has crap products, a crap business plan, and destroys lives. They should have been shorted, but Ackman pissed off Carl Icahn so much that Carl took the opposite side of it and went long on him just to destroy Ackman, because that guy is such a prick. He's like, I don't care what kind of company this is. I just want to make sure Ackman loses $1 billion, because fuck that guy. And you know what? Ackman lost $1 billion. They had a fantastic. You can find the internet. They both called in to CNBC during the trading day and got into a fight. Just like, screw you, you piece of crap, you disingenuous piece of garbage. Fuck you, old man. And like, Wall Street stopped. Everyone just like stopped trading, and they tuned in and watched these two guys just scream and yell at each other. And then in the end, Ackman had to admit that Icahn kicked his ass. You just don't bet against the dude. He's going to outmaneuver you whatever way it is, and don't screw him over, because he'll make you lose $1 billion. So, yeah, that's the bull thesis, basically, is you don't know what he's doing, and it's going to be something that's squirrely and awesome and destroy you in the end. So believe me, he's probably got the Hindenburg research guys, like black ops dudes, staking them all out right now just to rub it in their face when it's all said and done. So yeah, there's the bull thesis. It's simple. It's not technical. It's that guy you don't mess with. He seems like a pretty good dude until you piss him off, and then he's like a dog with a bone. BOH calls a second intro. That was paid off. Probably stupid. Lol, brainworms, apes for brainworms. Jason Blackwell, Houston, my new favorite cut down, bad built butch body. Yes. Representative Crockett absolutely bodied Marjorie Taylor Greene with that one. It's like bringing stupid to a smart fight. You could. It's what's the quote? It's easy to pretend to be serious. It's impossible to pretend to be witty. And Marjorie Taylor Greene does not have the stuff. She doesn't have it to actually be witty. And when she tries, she gets destroyed by people who actually are. And that was a really, really, really funny line from Representative Crockett. Now, Flight Guy 99, Houston, WAFED sold their portfolio of commercial real estate to Bank of America. How on earth did WAFED convince them to do that? I think WAFED's my mom's bank. And they were like so over leveraged. Like 90% of all of their deposits were in underwater commercial real estate. So I wonder how cheap Bank of America got it for, or what else they got on top of it, because I can't imagine WAFED being on the good side of that. All right, and we have the freaking QAnon crap coming in here. Paratarian, I think DFV is responsible for those large amounts of calls for the 20th? Yes. Hello, New Zealand. I'll be happy with Oprah's money, not Oprah. Aaron T. Morning, Houston. Probably stupid. To be honest, I think we're already considered a laughingstock, tinfoil hat. The courting of scumbags is deliberate in order to discredit the whole idea behind Jimmy. I have a feeling that too. Like Donald Trump and True Social, right? And DJT, Trump Media, whatever you want to call the stock. They're trying to be like, look, we're being shorted just like everyone else. Screw Ken Griffin. Fuck that guy who do regulations. And then Ken Griffin's like, how much money do you want for your campaign? Like, oh, he's destroying your company and he's funding your entire campaign. And then Donald Trump's earnings came out. $770,000 in revenue, $327 million in losses. There are McDonald's franchises off of nameless highways in middle America that clear more revenue than Truth Social. Like, a truck stop does probably 15 times the amount of revenue as Truth Social. One Safeway does 50 times the revenue of Truth Social. What the hell? They spent $327 million on. I mean, they lost like $50 million last year. And in one quarter, another $327 million. Like, how much money laundering is going on through that thing? I was thinking Trump was going to be a little smarter and wiser with this and start forcing the RNC to pay for ads on Truth Social and basically just bilk all Republican donor money and put it into his company and then release huge earnings with giant growth right around the time he's allowed to sell all of his shares, and he's gonna be like, peace, and get out. But apparently they're not smart enough to do that. Like, they can't think that far ahead on their money laundering scheme. They just literally just take the money and run. It's bonkers. But he tried to glom on to the whole naked shorting thing, and then Ken Griffin said he's going to fund his campaign, depending on who his VP pick is, apparently. So that ball's going to roll out of my head. Paratarian Houston Wade, that shirt must have been the fucking talk of the DMV. That shirt is something. Well, thank you. It's a good shirt. It's lots of Paisleys. It is Paisley Central. It's Paisley on top of Paisley. It's just a Paisley orgy. Luis Gonzalez, you know what time it is? I was about to sleep. Belgian tomorrow over here. It's a good day over there. Person with no name, Houston. See that lick I sent on Blue Sky? That dude is tits. That lick. Oh, I saw the video that you sent. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. Paratarian, the second Andrew Tate mentioned GME, his ass got blacklisted from Superstonk. Hope other subs do the same and add Kenny to that list. We need Jon Stewart's, not Andrew Tate's. Bingo. Yes, we need somebody who can reasonably explain the situation that's going on in a calm, knowledgeable manner that isn't going to tie in like sex trafficking, brain worms, stuff like that. Like, just come on, guys. Just like, but bring the good folks in here. Get like a Robert Reich or something to come in. Like guy when Houston relaxes, he wears paisleys. It's true. Mike Forst, any thoughts on MMTLP? I have not heard anything new. Their hearing is on the 31st in the federal court in Dallas. So I don't know if we'll hear anything before then out of Next Bridge. So yeah, hang tight for another 10 days. Yep. Never mind. You addressed it while I was typing. David Zbit. Plan is buy and hold and hold and buy. Guess for long-term woohoo. Paratern. I like this too. I have advocated for his return. Wait. Aaron S. What was that one? I missed that one. I don't know. I can't remember. Okay. Belgian Weil, is it okay if I clip the worst people in the world part and make a post of it? You want to do a longer rant? No, I'll clip that. No, clip. That's fine. Bring it. Alex Bishop, what's your shirt size? I wear large. But I'll wear pretty much anything. If it's too small, it's too small. But sometimes I squeeze into a medium and I just kind of, the sleeves like come to here and I just kind of roll it up and just pretend like it's, whatever. But I always appreciate shirts. Shirts in the P.O. box are my favorite thing. Flight 99, what's going on with the Doomsday Glacier? They're talking about 2 foot sea level rise. My guess is that's what, West Antarctica? Ocean water rushing underneath the Doomsday Glacier. Yep, West Antarctica. So, boom. There we go. So, ocean water is rushing miles underneath the Doomsday Glacier with potential dire impacts on sea level rise. Ocean water pushing miles beneath Antarctic's Doomsday Glacier, making it more vulnerable to melting than previously thought, according to new research which used radar data from space to perform X-ray of the crucial glacier. As salty, relatively warm ocean water meets the ice, it's causing vigorous melting underneath the glacier. It could mean global sea level rise projections being underestimated, according to the study published Monday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The Thwaites Glacier in West Antarctica, nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier because its collapse could cause catastrophic sea level rise, is the world's widest glacier and roughly the size of Florida. It's also Antarctica's most vulnerable and unstable glacier, in large part because the land on which it slopes downward, allowing ocean waters to eat away at its ice. Thwaites, which already contributes 4% to global sea level rise, holds enough ice to raise sea levels by more than 2 feet. But because it also acts as a natural dam to the surrounding ice in West Antarctica, scientists have estimated its complete collapse could ultimately lead to around 10 feet of sea level rise, a catastrophe for the world's coastal communities. Many studies have pointed to the immense vulnerabilities of Thwaites global warming driven by humans burning fossil fuels has left it hanging on by its fingernails, according to a 2022 study. Its latest research, this latest research adds a new and alarming factor into projections of its fate. A team of glaciologists led by scientists from the University of California, Irvine, used high-resolution satellite radar data collected between March and June of last year to create an X-ray of the glacier. This allowed them to build a picture of changes to Thwaites' grounding line, the point at which the glacier rises from the seabed and becomes a floating ice shelf. Grounding lines are vital to the stability of ice sheets and a key point of vulnerability for Thwaites, but have been difficult to study. In the past, we had only sporadic data to look at this, said Eric Orignot, professor of Earth System Science at the University of California, Irvine, and a co-author on the study. In this new data set, which is daily and over several months, we have solid observations of what is going on. So, I'm trying to see. This looks like 2 different things over the glacier. I can't quite. View of the tidal motion at Thwaites Glacier, West Antarctica, recorded Finland's icy commercial satellite mission. Okay. So this must be the line there. And then this is out in the ocean. I'm not sure exactly. I have to have somebody point that out to me. He suggests the term grounding zone be more apt than grounding line, as it can move nearly 4 miles over a 12-hour tidal cycle, according to the research. So basically what they're saying, let's pull up Google Earth, because Google Earth, we can look at Thwaites Glacier and we can see what's coming behind it. Load Google Earth. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Boom, boom. We're thwaiting it. We're thwaiting real good. Woo! Okay. All right. So here's icebergs coming off Thwaites Glacier. You can see it. You can see these icebergs. This is all breaking off. So what they have here is this the little fingers that are coming off the glacier. The glacier comes inland all through here, and it's a downward slope. So it hits the ocean and then it floats, and the ice that's on the ocean sits there and it kind of blocks the rest of the glacier from falling in. And what they're worried about is with the tidal changes and the warm water coming in is that the line, which is under here somewhere, where the Thwaites Glacier meets the ocean, will crack off, causing basically everything the size of Florida to fall into, just slide into the ocean instantly. And what you don't want is you don't want land ice out in the water. You don't want that. And you can see here, this is probably, a lot of this might be over ocean, but you can see you got a whole bunch of mountains here, big mountain ranges. This is Mount Sidley, this guy. You see these little mountain ranges here. Some of them are volcanic, and it's signifying that there's big long slopes from the shield volcanoes that head down. This stuff is all like a mile or more thick. You can see just from the sharp edges, this stuff is really, 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 really thick. In some places, it's kind of giving way. You can see in these little depressions here where ocean might be blocking stuff. But if you look at this here, you can see lots of action, a lot of little wrinkles. So it looks like that's land. And this right here is probably where the Thwaites Glacier meets the ocean. And this stuff is floating the way it's wrinkled. And what they don't want is they don't want this thing to crack off because everything behind it just goes schlunk into the ocean. Now there's enough land ice in Antarctica to raise ocean levels like 300 feet. So West Antarctica is the most precarious of those. There's a couple others you can see out here in East Antarctica. Again, you have a big glacier coming out to the ocean. This one doesn't look like it is falling apart as much. But yeah, there's glaciers everywhere. There's a big glacier there. So that's kind of what they're talking about. On the other side of the globe, go up here to the other big giant chunk of land ice, Greenland. Greenland's running through similar problems where huge melt-offs are happening on the ice sheets out here. Now, let's see if do we have good details of some of those melt-outs. Here we go. Here's melting pools. See all these guys here? This is basically like the sun warming the surface into water, and the water ends up like a big giant drill and just goes through the glacier and then spreads out under the glacier, destabilizing everything. So this is signs that the glaciers are getting torn apart. And what happens up here, and we've talked about this before, is all this cold water, fresh meltwater, 32-degree meltwater, floods into the ocean. And fresh water is less dense than salt water, so it floats on top of the salt water. And out here in the Atlantic, we have the Gulf Stream. And the Gulf Stream cooks stuff in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Caribbean, and then flies up the coast of North America to Europe, bringing really, 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 really warm weather to places that are really far north and should be covered in ice. Norway is just as north as Greenland, but Greenland doesn't get touched with that jet stream, the Gulf Stream, as England and Scotland and Ireland and Norway do. And so there's a lot less ice up here. And so if that fresh water floats on top of the ocean, it freezes much more easily because it doesn't have salt in it. And it shuts down the Gulf Stream, pushing it under everything. So then all of a sudden, they're worried that the Atlantic cycle, which is the Gulf Stream, shuts off, and Europe, while the rest of the world cooks, Europe plunges into an ice age, basically, where all this arable land can no longer grow food. People just starve to death. You'll get massive migration just the opposite of what's happening right now, where everyone's like leaving the desertification of sub-Saharan Africa and stuff and trying to flee into Europe. Everyone's trying to leave Europe and flee to sub-Saharan Africa, which might become a rainy zone as a result of the shutdown of the Atlantic cycle. So, at any rate, we're screwed. So, if you are going to get rich and buy a waterfront property, also get some mountain land as well. Just because, you know, this. Sip of water. CDS is a monkey butter admirer. Welcome, CDS. I'll admit, your avatar looks a lot like me. Same glasses, same stubble, same coif. Okay. There's that. Peaches Sunday Houston, can MOAS happen in after hours? It can begin. I guess it depends on if someone gets margin called or liquidated or decides to just start closing their positions. But I think MOAS is going to take days or weeks, depending on how much buying has to happen. Okay. Michael O'Hara, can two different holding companies hold each other? Yeah, why not? I mean, you look at the big institutions, BlackRock, Merrill Lynch, Vanguard, etc. They all own each other. I think Merrill Lynch owns like 47% of BlackRock, but BlackRock owns 10% of Merrill Lynch and 10% of everything else. So like they all own each other. You just go to Morningstar and look at the institutional holdings of companies, and you'll see that they all own each other. They're competitors who own each other again and again and again and again. So, yeah, it's a big incestuous club, and you're not in it. Donkey Donks, Houston, Tuesday after close. Well, quite a ways after close, like 9 hours after close. Nobles, 5 million yesterday, 10 million today. Is it 20 million strike? 2020 strike, like in the movie Run Little Run roulette scene? Believe in tinfoil? Oh, that's 1 second. Run Lola, run roulette scene. I love that movie. It's a really good movie. So, pause. Scene. Turn off this. So I'm not gonna have sound on so that I don't get like sued. There you go. Don't copyright strike me. Run will run. 27 years old. SFNL Houston, just joining. Have you discussed Energy X, LITOS, or the war crimes warrant by the ICC? And are we still waiting for any Cohen court dates to dismiss or settle? I think we're waiting for the court to read everything Cohen submitted last Friday. He's in the Batra case and go, meh. Cohen's lawyers tore that guy a new one. I don't think it's going very much further. I talked about the ICC thing yesterday, so you can go back and look at that one. I don't need to go on another rant about that. And no, I have not discussed Energy X LITOS. Energy X LITOS? What is LITOS? Energy X Energy Exploration. LITOS uses a membrane with adjustable apertures to achieve incredible separation and transport of ions while only allowing certain elements. Lithium ion transport separation. LITOS uses membrane adjustable apertures. I mean, no, I'm not talking about them. But at this point, any new lithium ion technology is going to be obsolete in 2 years. When solid state batteries start coming out, no one's going to care about lithium ion anymore. People will use lithium ion until then, but once solid state comes, solid state's so far superior to lithium ion that no one's going to care. All this stuff will just kind of fizzle away into nothing. So I can read up more on it later. But, yeah. Where was I? Snowy VR, you're one of the OGs. Superstonk needs to have you back on their subreddit ASAP. Keep being you, buddy. It's their loss. That's the way I feel. My subreddit's at 3,000 people now. It's crazy. I never expected to get that many folks. Although a lot of the people come in are really horrible Nazis who are horrible and I have to ban them. So they show up a lot. Belgian whale, maybe DFV was a $12 call whale to build a war chest to really blow things up now. Would all of that be legal for a normal like him? Yeah, he's got the money. It cost him $1 million to buy those 23,000 calls at $12. We can go back to calculator and show what may have happened there. So turn off Chrome, calculator. Okay, so spend $1 million, got 23,000 $12 calls. At some point along the way, it looks like they sold or converted into shares when the price was about $35 a share. So that's $22. So that's $2,200 when they sold. Oops. Per share, $50,600,000. That's how much cash they made if they just straight up sold those options. Okay, that's a good chunk of change, right? At some point, it was worth about $200 million. When the stock was at $80 at that one point, that would be $6,800. Sorry, 6,800 times 23,000. It was $156 million at one point, plus whatever the premium was. So at minimum, whoever that whale was walked with about $50 million to $156 million for that $1 million investment. That's a pretty darn good rate of return in just 3 weeks. So if that's the same dude, if that was DFV, he's now got a hell of a war chest, twice as much as he probably had before from his last win on GameStop 3 years ago. So they're sitting on 50, 60, 70, $80 million. So they've spent maybe 1/5 of it so far in the options plays they've done at the moment. So let's say they buy do it a couple more times. They end up buying, and they're like, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 options. Right? 7 million shares. Just that one dude alone, already in the money, and then takes another 20 or $30 million and starts placing market maker orders, like using, the market maker code. Do you guys remember that, Sky? Do I have it up here? I'm gonna have to bring it up. Market maker code list. Okay, so we got to turn Chrome back on. So market maker code signals. Come on, where are you? That is not what I want. I don't want you. I want this one. This one. Here we go. So if you see a whole bunch of orders in the level 2s of a stock, 100 I need shares, 200 need shares badly, but don't take the stock down. 300 I'm taking the stock down at least 30% so I can load shares. 400 keep trading it sideways, which probably was happening today. 500 gap the stock. Gap can be up or down depending on if it's on bid or ask side. 505 I'm short on shares, which we saw a lot that day that the price hit $80. 600 apply resistance as the ask and keep the price from increasing. So they hold it there. 700 move the price up. 777 also recognize moving the side up. 800 prepare for an increase in trading volume, which we probably saw Monday morning last week. 900 allow the stock to float and trade freely. 911 pending news release coming. 1000 don't let it run. We saw a bunch of 1000 show up suddenly and the stock started like, and 2100 let it run. We also saw that happen as well on Tuesday last week. So let's say they now have 70,000 options, all in the money, And then they go out and they buy some moonshots. The moonshots are cheap, right? You can get moonshots for pennies. And you can spend $1 million and get, I don't know, 100,000 moonshot options, right? And then you make it happen. So now you're sitting on 170,000 options, 17 million shares. A ridiculous amount of shares to go into the money, plus whoever else, all of us dorks playing along, right? And buying what we can while we can, our 5 and 6 options here and there. And they take a good chunk of that 156 million or whatever it is they made off of those options, and they start buying in the money, at the money, slowly bidding the price up, putting 2,100 shares at a time orders in, right? Move 777 shares, 700 shares, right? Throwing 500s on the ask side, so the price starts climbing. They start doing all of these things with it. The market maker algorithm computers will go knucking futs. They won't be able to handle it. It's coming through a lit exchange. It's not going through any payment for order flow crap. It is getting executed, and the price is moving up very fast, putting even more options in the money all along the way, the ones that we're buying because we are degenerate gamblers. And suddenly, margin calls start happening. Hedge funds start going down, getting liquidated. They're going in the market. Now they're competing with the whale, who's slowly pricing things up with another $20 million that they have. GameStop might be doing share buybacks then too. And the price explodes. Boom! Shoots up to hundreds, thousands, several $1,000s, $10,000 a share. Now, our boy here, who had some moonshots at like $200 for options, $158, whatever the highest is right now, has now made like billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, like unimaginable billions of dollars. Let's just do a quick little calculation to figure out. Let's say they have, we'll call it 70,000. All right. Once you like get in the thousands of shares, just count $10,000 every $100 you move up. So 70,000 shares, stock price goes to $5,000. Sorry, 70,000 options, stock price goes to $5,000. You're doing $500,000, monkey. Sorry, $50,000. $50,000. And that's my head. No, $500,000. I was right the first time. So you're now doing $500,000 per option, and you're at $35 billion just in options, like cash that owe you on those options alone. If we start to molasses like that, and you could easily exercise all 7 million of those shares for a fraction of that, because the price is so minuscule compared, and you can exercise it. You'd have the $35 billion in value, and the price would fly even more because of the gamma that would be happening on it. There's definitely something diabolical happening here. And this is kind of what I was hoping Carl Icahn would do, because he has a short position. If he wants to erase that short position, he's got to be able to generate more shares than what he owes to be able to close that position. And he may as well do it by buying tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of options, and then use a chunk of cash to move the price up by lit buying on that. So it can happen. Whales can make shit move, monkey, right? And you're looking at me like you need snacks. We can get you some snacks. We got the nuggies. We got the nuggies, monkey. Not gonna bother doing the nuggie stare video today. I'll do one. Another 2. The loudest cellophane in the entire world. Wanna come get it? You wanna come right here? Mwah! Good crunch. Oh, it was not crunch. That's a good one. Another one? Wanna come here and get it? There you go. Good crunches all around. Yes. Okay. Where am I? So if your CAT system is delayed, the CAT system is not delayed, but reporting on a certain aspect of the CAT system is, but it's not going to be trades. It's something else that doesn't relate to trades, so we're okay there. Belgian whale, our option guys shares always real or also synthetics. Most of those options are butt-ass naked. They do not have any shares behind them whatsoever. And the hope is, for the options writers, that the shares will close out of the money. They don't have to worry about it. They got free money. If it starts to close in the money, then they're going to desperately go out into the market and try to buy shares to cover that because they got 2 days to do it. So that's what happens. And a lot of the covering that happens for such option selling, you might have guys like Citadel, right, who naked sold a whole bunch of shares in the market. They need to have locates for those shares. So then they'll buy a whole bunch of like way out of the money, the dumps, the deep out of the money puts. And they'll buy, like, stocks trade at $20. They'll buy 1 million options at $2. It will never go that low. But they go, see, we have those shares exist. We have these dumps over here. And they use that as temporary locates until that expires. And then you got to do it all over again. It's cheaper than like having to pay interest rates and stuff on borrowing. But yeah, that's the stuff they'll do. It's a whole bunch of crappy garbage and crime. Praetorian Houston. If there's anyone you should have on the show, it's Ian Carroll. Dude is a hell of an advocate for people who don't know what's going on and need Spark Notes run through. Who's that dude? I don't know. Shaney just saw you're on. Immediately walk into your moassin. I like it. First Day Productions. How would the options writers hedge for all those call options that you just calculated? I have over 100 IEP calls, 200 plus MAT options, a few GME and AMC options. If they're close to in the money, they have to start buying shares. And the buying the shares usually causes them to go in the money. That's the gamma ramping. And then after everything goes in the money, the next 2 days, the Monday and Tuesday after, they have to buy a shitload of shares. They just have to. And that's when you get your gamma squeeze. And the gamma squeeze could be enough to trigger, a gamma ramp for the next week because it pushes a whole bunch of more options in the money, which happened over the last couple of weeks. And then GameStop killed that with their filing and releasing 45 million shares that could be used as locates for the shorting of the stock to happen. They must have some sort of grand plan behind that. But at the moment, it just killed my options play. Absolutely murdered it. Exciting times lead to more intros. Carla Giles. Hey, Houston, do you think the next run will be the actual MOAS or a fat run bigger than 2021? I think fat run bigger than 2021 for sure. And if it stays up there, I mean, in all likelihood, if this thing closes a day above $80, I think MOAS, I think it's game on. Personally, yeah. Philip Tang, Evening Houston, no stream tomorrow. Maybe. Usually during my stream time, I'll be on the road heading to get my car approved by the Washington State Patrol grizzled veteran who looks at it and goes, "That's not a car," or "That's a car," and then I'm allowed to drive it beyond that. Michael Harrow's RFK Jr. using campaign donations to buy GME. Won't he get in trouble for that? The RFK Jr. is worth $15 million. He can afford $25,000 in stock. Per turn. He looked into the Robinhood 24-hour trading. There was someone who compared the stock price with volume and showed that the 24 market literally has zero impact on any kind of price discovery. Yes, and apparently an inquiry has been opened in Congress. So it's Robinhood, IBKR, and Schwab are part of the 24-hour market. And all those trades are not reported to the exchanges. So basically it's one giant dark pool that you're trading in. Excuse me. And so they might get in trouble for that. You're going to have to report those trades, I think. Oh, and there's a reset of the chat. The Bane. Very rare. I get to be here live with you, Houston. Much love from the UK. Well, it's another early morning person in the UK there. Tadalus, happy early birthday. Hypothetically, if something like super volcano blows on the other side of the world, destroys all, how long would it take for news to circle around the world and cause panic? Instantaneously? I mean, you would probably see live footage of it from people there watching it blow up and then getting eviscerated live on camera. Probably pretty instantaneously. Krakatoa is a pretty amazing book. Do I have it in here? Krakatoa in here? Life of Pi, sure, Krakatoa. I may have lent it to a family member. Simon Winchester, probably around 2004, wrote an amazing historical deep dive into Krakatoa, which was this monumental oceanic island explosion between Java and Sumatra in 1886, 83, somewhere in there. Basically, it caused a tsunami, global tsunami. Like they saw ocean levels go whoop whoop in the Thames River from it. It was the first natural disaster to happen in the age of the telegram. So people were hearing about it as it was happening. So the next day, in newspapers around the world, were reports of this giant explosion. The giant explosion, people in like North Dakota heard it, right? There's not out there in your farm field, you hear boom. You're like, what the hell was that? That was Krakatoa exploding like 14 hours ago. Halfway around the world. And the sound went around the world like 4 times. So if you were at a quiet enough spot out there, you'd hear it 4 times, like 30 hours apart from each other. It's just absolutely bonkers. And that was the age of just telegram. Just and 35,000 people got wiped out by the tsunami, and a whole bunch of people went deaf because of the explosion. Kind of like what happened in Tonga. A bunch of people went deaf from that explosion as well. That was heard, in California. So it's pretty crazy, pretty wild. So yeah, if supervolcano went, we would all know pretty much instantly. Plus, you would have the warning signs. There'd be massive inflation of the supervolcano. So like if, say, a supervolcano like Naples went, the city of Naples would start just like inflating and buildings would be crumbling and everyone would just be told to get the hell out of Naples. Because you'd probably have a couple of weeks notification that this thing was going to blow. Roberto Sju? Good morning, 7 a.m. in Sweden. All right. Irja S. Roberto, me too. Oh, the Swedes are here. Look out. Zoobs. Sorry, a bit late here. Did we discuss the RFQ delay of the CAT system and what part of it plays in the system? I briefly mentioned it. I didn't do too much of a deep dive. I just kind of read somebody talking about how it has nothing to do with the reporting movement of shares. And why is my camera doing hoogity-googity glitch stuff? What's going on, camera? You okay? You fine? You all right? Where's glitching? It too, I guess, wants to go to bed. So it should not affect naked shorting, borrowing of shares, knowing where shares come from. It's a whole other side of that. And Zoobs says also hi. Hello, Zoobs. Llama Design Labs. 5 minutes behind. Just want to clarify the S3 partners changed the short interest calculation literally 1 to 2 days after the sneeze. Was it after the sneeze? I thought it was like before the sneeze. Before the sneeze. How they changed it like October 2020. All those numbers blend in my head. So you might be right. Yeah. Rupert Trooper. Are you playing any options for June 21st? Seems like there's a lot of option activity for that date. Today, a lot was bought in the money. Can you explain why they would buy in the money call not that far out? The in the money call forces automatic gamma ramping of the stock. So if it's in the money and it's for a lot of shares, option writers suddenly have to go out and buy a lot of shares to fulfill that order. Because it's guaranteed. Like, it's in the money. So if the price lasts to that date, they're gonna have to buy the shares to make up for it. So they have to have the shares on hand, which is going to cause the price to go up, which then they buy even more options in the money, which causes the price to go up, and they buy more options in the money. And somewhere out there, they probably have a shitload of options that are way out of the money. Let's look at the options chain. Matter of fact, let's look at the options chain. Boom. Oh, that's calculator. Look at the options chain for the 21st. That's the yearlies right here. What? You have not updated? No open interest? Let's see volume. One sec. Let's see if we can. What are you doing? Yeah, no open interest, dude? None? Are you absolutely failing me miserably? You can see 22,000 were purchased. Volume was 22,000 today alone, We have no idea how many exist because the options chain is not showing us. But we got a lot of tickets. We got a bunch at 125, bunch at 100, a bunch at 50. So we got a lot of tickets in here. What I'm waiting for is, let's say they keep buying. Tomorrow they buy more at close at $22 or something, or the price goes up, they buy at 24. There'll be a day when they buy at 125, it'll probably be 100,000, something ridiculous like that. The price is still pretty steep on them. $112. How come you can get a $95 call option cheaper than get a $125 call option? This is the crap that doesn't make any sense to me, is when this stuff happens. Like, and like the 100 is 30 cents more expensive, 35 cents more expensive than the 95. That doesn't make any sense, man. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't get it. There's only 5 of them, but still. Yeah. Frozen Productions, do you think we'll see double-digit shows where you don't have a double intro? It happened once. I think my record was 11 shows, and I don't think I've come close since. There's too many intros now. My brain cannot fathom how many intros there are. Just a list of them off to the right here. Aaron Salentine, Houston, are you ready to squeeze the shorts out of Barnes & Noble? Yeah, Barnes & Noble, I read that all of Barnes & Noble could be purchased for like $25 million. And people have been talking about it, and the price suddenly went zoom, zoom. Sure. I'm sure that they're heavily shorted. They're a big chain, and it seems like they sell more than $25 million in books a year. What is Barnes & Noble yearly revenue? Barnes & Noble revenue. $3.5 billion. So the $3.5 billion Barnes & Noble market cap. Price went up today, so market cap $16 million. That is incredibly undervalued. That's more so than GameStop was when GameStop was worth $200 million. So $16.7 million. That's what you can buy all of Barnes & Noble for at the moment. So a whale could easily purchase every stock they possibly could in that company and squeeze the shit out of it. And they do $3.5 billion in revenue. So, dang. What about Barnes & Noble? What's our yearly profit? Are they making a profit right now? Probably losing money. Third quarter profit $100 million. What? Complete revenue increase $110 million. From $67 million. Nope, net loss $9 million. Okay, so they lost a little bit of money, but still, you can buy the entire company for $16.7 million and easily trim that fat if you're someone like Ryan Cohen. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Aaron Sound, did you see the rally from 23 cents to $1.12? That's quite a rally. Isn't the vaccine legitimately started to crumble? No. So here's how the COVID vaccines work. COVID is an RNA virus. RNA viruses mutate really, really quickly because they're just a single strand. Like DNA, you got 2 sides, you got the double helix and everything. An RNA strand is just one of those sides. So you can fit any C, G, T, or A into that thing. So if it breaks or cracks, another one can come in there and change the entire definition of the genome of that RNA virus. RNA viruses mutate really quickly. Cold viruses, you get a cold 4 times a year, right? Just because you got a cold, you are not immune to the next version of the cold because as it travels through everybody and they reproduce it over and over again, it mutates and all of a sudden your immune system doesn't recognize it anymore and you get the stupid cold again. Same thing with the flu. That's why I have a new flu virus every year, new flu vaccine every year, because the flu changes, and so you got to change with it. COVID is an RNA virus, and it mutates really, 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 really quickly, especially in people who are unvaccinated. So what happens is they made the original vaccine to treat the alpha variant, and with the alpha variant, it had 97% effectiveness, efficacy. Sorry, and sorry, I've got so much Doritos in me, burping away. At 97% efficacy, and basically, if alpha variant was around, it just bounce off you and disappear. It did not. Your body would not get it. But two problems. One, huge populations of people couldn't get vaccinated in sub-Saharan Africa, Brazil, Southeast Asia, etc. And huge populations of people refused to get vaccinated. So the alpha variant didn't last very long. And what we ended up with beta. And beta, yeah, the vaccines had like 60-70% efficacy against beta. And then Delta came out, and then Omicron, and so on and so on. And it kept mutating all along the way. Now, people who are vaccinated, generally the virus sits in their upper respiratory system and doesn't really get into the lungs or the bloodstream or anything else in the body. So it replicates up here and then dies. When it gets into people who are unvaccinated, it enters through the upper respiratory system, goes in the lungs, goes into the blood, goes into the brain, goes in the spine, goes in the kidneys, goes in the liver, and is replicating everywhere, like trillions and trillions of times. We're talking like ridiculous orders of magnitude more than it does in vaccinated people. And the more replication you get, the higher probability of a mutation in the viral RNA structure that sticks and shows improvement. What's the word I'm looking for, Monkey? The gain of function. That's what I'm looking for. And so at first, the mutations we saw were out of large populations of people. Post-vaccine, we think there's some people who have compromised immune systems, that their immune system just doesn't attack the virus and it lives in them for a very long time. And their bodies end up producing like crazy different variants out of it as well. But basically, we will have more variants again and again and again until people just get vaccinated. That's just how it's going to be. And if we've got these huge populations that aren't, then we're going to keep getting new variants, and we keep getting new variants, then it will eventually become like a common cold, but we're not there yet. The common cold killed off 100 million people in the Western Hemisphere when the conquistadors arrived. To them, it was like a coronavirus. It was wiping out huge swaths of population. They're getting pneumonias. They're dying. They didn't know what's going on. They never experienced anything like this before because they never had these zoonotical viruses, and their immune systems weren't prepared for it. And so over 90% of the population of the Western world is wiped out by the cold and flu and the conquistadors. And you can even look at like the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock. And where they arrived, there was an entire town there. There's a whole native village. And they're like, look at this village God provided for us. All the people are dead. It's ours, because white people had approached them earlier, gave them all colds and flus, and they all died. And so the story of the Mayflower and the Pilgrims is that they just bogarted an entire town from native people who had died from the diseases previous white people had brought them. It's absolute passive warfare that way. They don't really think about like, oh, look at this. We subconsciously killed all these people. No, they're just like, oh, manna from heaven. It's that's kind of what happens. So that's why they got to do updates to the virus. And you should probably get an update every 6 months to a year, because the strands change. And that's just our future. And that's what we got to look forward to. Yay! Belgian Whale, why do you put that monthly cash in your IRA or whatever Yanks have instead of a decent government pension when you know the market will crash? Cash is king. Because we don't have that. It's every man for himself, unless you have an old school job that actually has a pension. But most people don't have pensions. Maybe 10% of the population has a pension. If you're in the military, you work for the federal government, state government, local government, you got pensions. If you work for a corporation, You might be lucky for like with an automaker have a pension, but most other private companies no longer have pensions. They've got their little 401ks and IRAs, and that's about it. But yeah, that's what we got. We don't have that because we have a dumb system made up by rich people who want us to suffer. And there you go. We've got Social Security because everything else will fail miserably, and that will be our future. Except we don't have much Social Security for much longer because rich people don't pay into it, and those people do pay into it, take out of it, and leave all the poor people poor. Belgian whale, there's so much funny shit to clip here already. Luis Gonzalez. All these wackos jumping into the movement remind me of when James Franco complains about the lingerer in Pineapple Express. I have not seen the movie in so long. I should watch that movie, Monkey. It's been... What, the movie came out like 15 years ago, right? BFH. Feel like if you want to bring attention, you cannot call them meta, and you cannot mix up MMAT and MMTLP. You need to call them metamaterials, and you need to get the tickers right. Okay. Meta equals Facebook, metamaterials equals MMAT. Metamaterials, Torchlight, or just Torchlight MMTLP. People know what I'm talking about, dude. They do. Glaciers, Alexander Camp, Birthday Houston, Treetop. Yep, my fam already moved to the mountain land before it became too expensive. We're ready as we can be. There you go. You're top of a tree, probably. D-Rag. Hello, Mr. Wade. Did I miss any good news at MMAT or at NextBridge? We talked a little bit. MMAT yesterday announced they're going to sue the shorts. They didn't say when, but it's coming, and the stock price went whee. After hours yesterday. What did it do today? I forgot to look today. Fairly flat. Peaked at 4, flattened out at 330. Okay. Kind of flat. I think now waiting for them to actually file something. But nothing on NextBridge yet. Aaron Sound Team, Barnes & Noble squeezed to $5-7 like Peggy Stock did last year. Sure. Did talk about RFK D-Rag. Michael Harrow can GME, then hold Teddy, and Teddy hold GME. Yeah. Totally legal. Like there was a deal a few years ago between Nissan and Renault. And Nissan owned like 15% of Renault. Renault owned like 20% of Nissan. They did that for a couple of years, had this joint operating agreement, and then I think they've separated themselves since then. And then Nissan bought Mitsubishi and are doing something with that now. So yeah, it's possible. They can totally do it. They can do all sorts of weird things. Peachy Sunday, what do you think is going to happen to Kitty? Is he going to tweet again in the future? My guess is probably he might throw a couple little hints here and there, but I think he laid out his entire plan in reverse. And what I think he's doing is he's doing it myself. It's over when I say it's over. I think that's what's happening. Leon Noel, since we can see Uranus on June 3rd, is there something related to happen on that day too? I don't know if we can see Uranus naked eye. June 3rd, planetary alignment. Planets Jupiter, Mercury, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, Saturn. That order will be visible, while the planets will appear roughly in a straight line. They will not actually form a line in space. This is a rare event called syzygy. I think you guys see it with a telescope, though. I don't think you can see it naked eye. Boom, boom. Oh, super dark, you'll be able to see it. So basically, if you're like in rural Montana, you'll be able to see it. Kitty cat, you want to come in? Come in, demanding fatty. Come on. Come on, don't just stand there. We have a whole crowd of people. The world's fattest cat. He's so fat. Cattail karaoke. And he's gone. Yeah, didn't like that, did you? Came in here for that, and now you want to leave. Well, tough titties, kitty. Trace better. Hello. Dan B. Hey, Houston, man. Happy birthday. Are you cake or ice cream guy? Chocolate cake. Chocolatey as chocolate cake you could possibly chocolate in your chocolate life. That's my jam. Striking Viking. Feel bad because I sold shares on a $60 stop loss. Feel better now that I own twice as many shares with some cash on hand. Fortunately, it's been 3.5 years and I still don't understand options. That's okay. Keep to your share thing. I got my shares and I messed with my options out of pure entertainment. First Day Productions options, I turned $36 into $800, and then I put that into IEP. These numbers could go to 6 or 7 figures. Run the little run, baby. Fantastic. System 54 Netflix is doing its weekly price hike. This time it's additional 11%. One last gouge, I guess. We need better oversight on corporations. Let's end Citizens United after MOS. Definitely. Huddle, I've canceled all subscription services. I'm not putting up with any more, and life is simpler without it. You won't get to this, Houston, but I throw DRS into the mix, and they're for long-term holders. Oh, they're there for long-term holders. Imagine millions more being DRS'd whilst this is happening. I don't know if they'll be DRS'd necessarily while the MOAS is happening, but maybe in the coming weeks leading up to it, yes. I do wonder if we'll see DRS numbers boost at next earnings. Probably. Oh, Belgian Whale gets memberships. How did I miss that? Yas, Brandon Wells, Keegan Murphy, False Flags, and Laza all got memberships. Fantastic. Thank you, Belgian Whale. Aaron Saladin, you said about $500 worth of Barnes & Noble, 50 cents a share, 1,007 shares. I'm up 100% in 2 hours. I guess let's squeeze these shorts. All right. Anton Hassenkampf. I'm afraid that the CAT system comes online, SEC does absolutely nothing. What is stopping the SEC to simply continue to look the other way? Absolutely nothing. Tools for regulators are only as good as the regulators are themselves. Cops, there's a study that came out yesterday showing that cops don't solve crime. They don't. Like all the cop shows, I love cop shows. I kind of loathe cops because I just have no good experiences with them. They just really do shit work most of the time. But cop shows, there's like solving mysteries and figuring things out. And in real life, they don't do that crap at all. I think I told this story. I had my debit card number stolen. And it was stolen from a chick at a bowling alley. I used the card, it was a brand new card. I used it twice. Once at Ross to buy a present for a little kid's birthday party, and once to get a burger and fries at the bowling alley at said kid's birthday party. And then one of those places, my debit card was stolen. The only places out of my sight was the waitress at the bowling alley. And she bought all sorts of stuff online from like Powell's Books and a fantasy football site and all sorts of stuff. It's like thousands of dollars. I got the address from pals.com of where all the stuff was being delivered. I go to the police station. I file a report, talk to the cop, and I was like, hey, let's go get this chick. And they're like, Like, no, really, we've got her address. We have the felony she committed. Let's go get her. And the cop's like, that sounds difficult. I'm like, cop, if she's stealing from me, stealing like $3,000 from me, she's probably doing it multiple times a week to other people. We're talking crimes that could be in the tens, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars that this one chick is doing by stealing everyone's debit card numbers. And he's like, They wouldn't do anything about it. Like, what is this bullshit? So, cops got the tools. They have all the forensic evidence. They know where the crime is happening, where the person is, and you can't even get them to go get in their $100,000 squad car and drive a mile and go arrest the person. They can't be bothered. It's just too much work. I will take your report, give you a report number, and you can talk to your insurance company and your bank, and that's all they do. So the SEC might kind of be the same way. They might see all this crime coming in front of them, just printing out of machines and screens everywhere. Crime. But if they don't do anything about it, then what's the point of the entire system? Except to possibly go and find, I don't know, some penny stock pump and dumper who made $4,000 on something and be like, that guy, we're going to arrest that guy and make an example of him. And meanwhile, like JP Morgan's like counting their money, and Citadel is beating their wives with bedposts and stuff. They don't care. So you're absolutely correct. You're actually correct, Anton. It's only as good as the regulators are willing to be. So yeah. Ryan H, Hello Monkey Butt, and the Fat Cat. Hello, Fat Cat. I think the other cat wants in all of a sudden. She's scratching at the door. Oh, no? You just want to leave? Okay. Get out of here. Whatever, dude. All right. I am tired. I'm going to go to bed. So... R Maniac. I just posted this on the R Teddy. Maybe you can explain this better. Why wouldn't have all the calls on the money last week on Tuesday exercise the option to keep the gamma ramp going? Wasn't enough calls. They had hedged throughout that entire week when the price was going sky high, and they were hedged for the stock to close at like $50-$60, and when it didn't, they were able to dump cajillions of shares and hammer the price down and basically close at max pain. So they were hedged for that and they're ready to go. What you want is you want to close well above max pain to hurt the options writers. And they managed to get max pain to $22 and they closed at $22. And that was that. They had enough shares to cover that. So there was no gamma happening on that one. And on that note, I'm going to bed. I may see you guys tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see if we can squeeze it in there. If not, I'll try to do a show Thursday. And probably all sorts of hell will break loose tomorrow, and that's why I won't be able to do a show. So, yeah. Yeah. Armaniac, it was 22 million calls. No, it was 200,000 call options for about 20 million shares. And they got that down to 5. So 5 million options went in the money in the end. Because people sold their options, they dumped them, things like that happened. So yeah, it was about ended up being about 5 million, I think. Maybe 7 million. Okay. After Dark, number 1, Farting Rhino.